Animals Fishing. The opinions, viewpoints, and promises made during the following program are not those of WFLA AM, its staff, management, or parent company, iHeartMedia Incorporated.
Welcome to the Bartow Ford Real Animals Radio Show, your weekly voyage into Florida fishing. Presented by Hubbard's Marina, hosted by Captain Mike Anderson and Captain Dylan Hubbard.
Good morning, Tampa Bay. Captain Dylan Hubbard here for the Bartow Ford Real Animals Radio Show. Talking fishing and here until 8 o'clock. Unfortunately, only till 8 o'clock. And I've got my good friends, Captain Travis Thompson from All Florida and Captain Bobby Woodard from Fly 'em High Charters in studio this morning to chat fishing with you. And hopefully we'll hear from you as well. Remember, 1-800-969-9352 if you want to join the conversation. Give us a fishing report. Just say hello, whatever you want to do. 1-800-969-9352 is the call-in line. How you doing this morning, Travis?
Good, man. We got a little wet coming over here.
A little bit. How about you, Bobby?
Doing great, man. Happy to be back.
Yeah.
We got the band back together.
Yeah, man. You guys drove from Imperial Polk County, huh?
God's country.
God's country. I figured we'd start that early and get that out
Home
of the
of
way.
the purple booyah.
Yeah, exactly. And big bass and lots of specks, huh? Well, as far as the weather goes, we have a nice long stretch of beautiful weather. We're on the backside of a new moon. Tides are starting to slow down on us already as we approach that first quarter moon here around mid-work week. And then as we come up on this weekend, tides should start moving pretty good for us as we approach the full moon, which is midweek next week. So about a week and a half away from that full moon. But still some pretty good tides today and really through the weekend, they just start slowing down a little bit, get a little bit more of a meander, and then midweek it gets tough with the one tide day or two tide days, excuse me, and it slows down until about Monday. So should have some really good opportunities here over the weekend, and might slow down and get a little bit tougher during the week, but should be pretty darn good here next weekend as well. So it looks like things are really stacking up for us. Plus, I was talking to Dave Osterberg yesterday from Fox 13 News, and he was saying on the advanced models, there's no real strong cold front in the works for us here for at least another couple weeks.
So you're looking at like the 10 to 20 day out window. And
all I know is it's February, and it seems like we're going to have this big warm up already.
So I pay attention to the weather a lot, like you. Because this is duck time of year, right? Like I've just always come out of duck season.
What ducks?
Yeah, exactly. This year, that's what it felt like.
Salt the wound.
I feel like, so I watch trees a lot when they bloom and stuff, and I feel like we've seen like tababua trees and stuff like that blooming in early February, which is usually a March tree.
Yeah.
And I think we've seen that shift a little bit, and I feel like February's been a fairly warm month the last several years. You'll get a front through, but
yeah, one here or there.
January's cold. February's mild.
Yeah, we definitely had a cold January.
Yeah.
It felt historic, and it felt – I mean, we had more snowfall in the state of Florida than the state of Alaska.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's pretty wild to think about.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Some of the videos I was seeing, and people we know, friends up in Tallahassee and stuff, they were like, I mean, they were having a field day.
Yeah, Tallahassee to Pensacola to Panama City to Destin. Photos of snow on the beach. It was wild.
Okay, can I just give you a take on that? Because as a Florida guy, like I enjoy a good snow. Mm-hmm. I don't want my snow here.
Yeah. I like to go visit snow.
I could get on an airplane and go see snow someplace if I need to. So, I don't need it coming to Florida.
Like grandkids, you can send them home.
Yeah, like, because I was a little bit jealous. I was like, oh, man, they're right there in Tallahassee, like sledding in laundry baskets down the street and stuff. I'm like, man, I'm kind of jealous of that. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm not there, so I don't have to worry about it.
My favorite snow stuff that came out of this whole thing was all the airboat guys in Louisiana.
Spinning on the snow and stuff.
Doing donuts and taking their airboats to the store. That was pretty cool.
You know that happened in Florida.
Oh, yeah.
My personal favorite was, you mentioned Tallahassee. There was more inches of snow on Doak Campbell Field than there was winds this year.
Yeah. I love the FSU memes.
Go Gators.
This weather update was brought to you by our friends over at Reese Windows and Doors. They're Florida's leading window and door company with over 50 years in business. Plus, they offer free installation on most windows and doors, and they install in just 6 weeks. They only use in-house installers, no freelance contractors, and their work comes with a double lifetime warranty, which means you never pay for the warranty when you sell your house. The warranty also transfers to the new owner, adding value to your home. Visit reesewindows.com for more information. Definitely exciting weather forecast, and I'm excited personally to be back in shorts and out of jeans.
Dylan opened the door for us this morning, and he was in shorts. I was like, okay, everything's back to normal now.
Yes, the world is at peace. I was in New Orleans this past week, Monday through Thursday, at that federal fisheries meeting, the Gulf Council meeting, and there was still snow on the ground in New Orleans, but it was hard to notice.
That's not something you see every day either.
No.
It was hard to notice, though, because as we drove into the city, I was sitting in the back of the Uber. I'm like, what is that? And the guy's like, yeah, that's snow. It looked like a mountain of dirt because it was
so
black.
dingy, yeah.
It was not dingy. It was not dingy. It was blacker than your shirt, Travis.
Beyond dingy.
It was disgusting. I was like, oh, New Orleans
It's
snow.
dark like my soul.
Yeah, it was pretty brutal. They were preparing the city for Super Bowl, so they were out there pressure washing and cleaning everything up, and it was pretty wild. But we also walked down Bourbon Street a few times there for like lunch and dinner, and walked by that memorial. It was pretty heavy, pretty real.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, and they're working feverishly right now on Bourbon Street. You'd go there for lunch, and they'd be like working on one of the intersections, jackhammering it all up, big heavy equipment, and tearing up the road. You come back for lunch, and the road's completely finished, brand new asphalt, and there's an automatic gate. So they were adding gates to each one of the roads entering Bourbon Street. So at night, the gate would come up and stop any vehicles from approaching.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and any of the intersections they hadn't finished yet, they were parking big garbage trucks in front of those
block
roads.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really like
Super
good job
interesting.
agility-wise
Yeah, that's
to
action.
adapt to that. Like,
Yeah, the city is mobilized.
Yeah.
100%. The construction and everything around the field. Because when I left, we drove right by the stadium, the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, where they're having the Super Bowl, and they had gates up, fences up. They were doing a bunch of construction.
High security.
Around the front. Oh, yeah, definitely. It was pretty interesting. But the Gulf Council meeting was...
How was that?
We got what we wanted on lane snapper, which is good news there. I mean, lane snapper is a healthy fishery, and we have these closures because we're catching these fish so fast. So it was cool to see them finally take some action to hopefully stem off those closures. And essentially what happened was there was a vote to make the minimum size limit 10 inches. So moving the minimum size limit from 8 inches to 10 inches will help cut down on some fishing mortality. And it's supposed to be like a 30% decrease or 28% decrease in fishing mortality, which should be enough of a decrease to hopefully keep that season open all year. But the problem is, all right, so you go to a 10-inch minimum size limit, so now we're not keeping those 8 and 9-inch fish anymore, so we can keep the season open all year. But fast forward 2 years from now, 4 years from now, it takes about, they say, between 3 and 5 years to realize the benefit of a minimum size limit change. And my concern is, all right, now we're catching bigger fish and letting those smaller fish grow. And they actually reach sexual maturity right around 10 inches. So now you're also making sure more of those fish reach sexual maturity. So you're only going to increase the size of the lane snapper population. And it's already increasing. That's why we're doing this. So it could potentially create a problem in the future of, all right, now we're catching even more, even larger fish. So one thing we also accomplished at this meeting was trying to change the interim analysis, basically indice of abundance. So currently they're using the headboat index to evaluate the health of the biomass. And what they do is they look at headboat landings and see the catch per unit of effort. So, they're catching lane snapper more quickly, more easily. The catch per unit of effort is higher. So thus the fishery is healthy. Let's bump up the increase. So they give us these little increases, like just, I think last year it was like a 10 or 12% increase. But the problem is the headboat index is restricted by the ACL, right? we can only catch as many fish as the quota allows, and then the season closes. So I've been urging them to look to another indice that isn't restricted by the ACL.
Right.
And they did pass a motion to use the G Fisher Index, which is this camera array. A lot of people are unaware that FWC, Mississippi, a bunch of these different labs put out these cameras, and they're like a big, I would say about a 5 foot by 5 foot square that they drop down to the bottom. And
It's like a game cam.
Yeah. Well, it's a super sophisticated game cam because it's covered in cameras.
Right.
And they also have lasers, and the lasers shoot out from the cameras, and they can actually tell not only how many fish are in front of the camera, but also length composition.
Size and...
Yeah, so you get a better image of the stock. And these cameras are placed randomly throughout the Gulf of Mexico and across the shelf. So hopefully it'll get a better picture. And now they're using AI. Previously, someone had to sit there and watch all this footage and count these fish and estimate the lengths. But they're actually training an AI to be able to manipulate all that footage and digest the information even quicker. So instead of a year and a half lag on, all right, we filmed the footage in January 2024, but all that footage has to be digested by a human being, and it's not until like June of 2025 until that January 2024 footage is actually ready to be used. The AI can have it ready in like a week.
Wow.
Pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, because you're training that AI to watch, to identify which species is which and everything else.
So there's some good news hopefully coming, and hopefully will not only make the lane snapper healthier, but also hopefully a big increase in catch levels. But that's not all from the meeting. There was some also...
Oh, there's more.
It's pretty negative
We're going to have to get that... Is that like a tease?
Yeah.
Right before the break?
That was. Yeah, I'm getting good at
A
this.
cliffhanger. Y'all got to come back.
Stay tuned.
Dun, 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 dun.
Real Animals Radio will be right back. Don't go anywhere.
The iHeartRadio app. Thanks to Farah and Farah, it's never been easier to sit.
Interpreting the data faster and all that. I had a flashback to the last meeting in Lakeland when they were talking about bears. And it was like 2015 was the study, and like we still don't even like have the data.
We have the data for that. They won't have the data again until 2029.
Wow.
I said, and I quote: we can count all the snapper in the ocean in like 2 years or something, and like it's going to take 9 to count bears that are walking around on land to eat my garbage.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Seems like terrestrial stock assessments would be a little faster.
You would think, right?
They get stock assessments done in the Gulf of Mexico every like 5 years. You would imagine they could do bears every 5 years at least.
Right. You would think anything walking around on land would be easier than something underwater.
Yeah.
Like I get population dynamics and like it's an extrapolation and you're looking at different indices of abundance, but like they're freaking bears.
Yeah, right.
I saw a report. Somebody said it didn't really gain much traction, but somebody said they saw a bear cub off of the side of Hardin the other day.
Really?
Yeah, like just a little bit south of the Parkway.
Bear cubs.
Yeah.
I think there's 2 panthers that have been hit right there by the Parkway.
There was one I know of.
No,
like
there were 2
within the last year and a half or so.
There was another one like 3 or 4 years before that one.
Was it?
Right there where they decided to build all that stuff. I mean, the best way to avoid a panther getting hit is to just go ahead and build some stuff there.
Right.
Then you don't have to worry about the panthers anymore.
Right.
Just go ahead and build some stuff.
Yeah, just go ahead and build everything. We don't have to worry about any of this stuff anymore.
Bobby's cut off here. Everybody wants to see that beautiful mustache.
The handsomeness.
Don't want anybody to miss out. What's up, John Rivers, Hector, Joe Key, Paul Brown, Scott Moore? What's going on, buddy?
The Captain Scott Moore?
The Captain Scott Moore. Mick Dodge, Paul Brown, Will Keene. What's up, man?
Captain Scott's probably having breakfast on his way out to go catch like 700 snook today.
Nick Nieves, what's up, buddy? Angie, Dan, the Fishman, Don.
That's right. Paul
Steve,
Brown knows what's up. Talking about Polk County.
What's up, Jerry Smith, Jeff Reedy, Karen?
Oh, Captain Van just got on as well.
Oh, Captain Van, the man.
I gotta call Captain Van back. I talked to him last week, but I didn't talk to him this week.
Every golf council meeting, someone asks me, is Van related to you?
Just say yes, dude. Just like lean into it now.
Cousins by choice.
Today is the Veterans Hunting Day for ducks.
Dude, speaking of ducks, at that golf council meeting, there's Texas guys there, Louisiana guys there, Mississippi, Alabama. Everybody was complaining about ducks. Yeah. So not only the Texas area, which is a different flyway, I found out from the Louisiana, Mississippi guys, which is a little different flyway, and then Florida. So everybody's complaining about the lack of ducks.
Yeah, it was a bad duck year.
Apparently, they were all talking about how it has to do with Canada and how there's not the farmland that there used to be.
Yeah, I mean, rainfall in Canada on the Prairie Pothole region is what drives duck production.
It's pretty interesting.
We call that the Big Duck Factory.
The Big Duck Factory.
Presented by Hubbard's Marina. Now your captains, Mike Anderson and Dylan Hubbard.
Good morning, y'all. Captain Dylan Hubbard here for the Bartow Ford Real Animals Radio Show with Captain Travis Thompson from All Florida and Captain Bobby Woodard from Lime High Charters in studio this morning, talking fishing and hopefully hearing from you as well. Remember, 1-800-969-9352 if you want to join the conversation. Say hello, ask a question, or bring us a fishing report. Give us a call, 1-800-969-9352. Want to give a shout out to our friends over at Affordable Roofing Systems. Whether you need a shingle, metal tile, or flat roof, our friends at Affordable Roofing Systems are your safest choice for repairs or replacements. With over 3 decades of a roofing experience, let Affordable Roofing Systems guide you through this important process. They are defined by integrity, respect, and honesty, and they have a professional approach to doing business. Call 888-397-ROOF for your free estimate or visit them online at affordableroofingflorida.com. Really good people over there. They did my roof, Captain Big Ben Marshall. Really, really awesome guys.
Those guys rock.
They are.
That's the guys that helped
Bobby.
you?
Yeah.
Yeah, they couldn't even help come and actually do it, but they just gave you advice.
Yeah, no money in it for them and still helped.
Awesome people. Speaking of Captain Van Hubbard, we were talking about him on break. He gave us a call, so we'll go right to Captain Van Hubbard. What's going on, buddy? How are you this morning?
Morning.
Hey, good morning, man.
Oh, man, what a beautiful morning. I guess it's going to breeze up later, but it's pretty right now.
Yes, sir. It was beautiful this morning. A little misty here, but this rain should get out of the way really quickly.
Did you eat a pancake for me this week?
Nope.
No pancakes. How are you doing, Van? How's the fishing down there?
It's picking up. I can hear the surf roaring a little bit this morning already, so there's obviously a little bit of a swell out there already.
Yeah.
We sure had some calm weather earlier, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I went out with some friends, Captain Kalen O'Lear and crew. Tuesday, we went out to about 100 feet and caught some real nice snapper and red grouper.
Nice.
Some of those beautiful fire trucks. They weren't biting good, but we worked at it and caught some nice fish and had a good time. We had 3 or 4 snapper that were about 5 pounds apiece. They're a lot of fun on a spinning rod and a jig head.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome, man.
The flying Hawaiian.
The offshore fishing side of things has been really, really hot now that we're able to get out there. The Flying Hub 2 has just been crushing the red grouper. But the red grouper have been very, I guess, kind of a grind where you have to bounce around a lot, right? You hit a pothole, catch 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 or 5 at best. And then you got to pick up and move and hit the next pothole or the next edge or the next crack and just keep sticking and moving, as we call it. And you end up with a nice catch, but you got to work for them for sure.
That's exactly what we found, Dylan, exactly. Catch 2, 3 keepers and a few little ones and time to go.
Mm-hmm. Stick and move. But a lot of mutton snapper still. It's crazy.
First fish we caught was an ice keeper mutton, about 17 inches.
Called that.
Yeah.
And that was an 85 feet. And then we caught and released a little one.
That's awesome.
A smaller one, about 14 inches. Excited about that Gulf Council meeting. I guess they were talking about king mackerel there also.
Yeah, that was really interesting. So king mackerel is not a fishery that I'm super active in. Kings are kind of a bycatch to our operation, at least. But for the last, I would say, at least 4 to 5 years, people have been coming to the council meeting. Fishermen have been coming to the council meeting talking about the downturn in king mackerel, and it's been getting more and more prevalent at more and more meetings where people are coming and say, hey, there's a problem with kings. There's a problem with kings. At this meeting, they did a presentation, an in-depth presentation showing a bunch of indices, stock indices, trying to capture the trend, and all of them were negatively declining for king mackerel. Basically, science illustrating what fishermen have been saying. And they had a long discussion and ultimately ended on, hey, we're going to wait and not do anything on king mackerel as there's a stock assessment ongoing right now. And that stock assessment should be done by the end of this year and should have information to make management decisions next year. And also, interesting enough, we had a bunch of people show up to this meeting to say that king mackerel are fine. And those people were all the kingfish gill netters from the Key West area, South Florida area. So we had like 25 kingfish gill netters in the audience talking about.
Excuse me, but there's not 25 active permits. I think it's down to about a dozen.
Yes, sir. You're correct. But they take about 8 people per boat.
Yeah, the people that work for them and stuff.
Yeah. So,
they had a lot of people there. Don't misunderstand me, but there's only about 10 or 12 active permits, as I understand it.
Yeah.
And they were the only ones that were saying everything was great.
Mm-hmm.
Yet they took twice as long to fill their quota.
Yeah, and that's what they
year.
came to talk about. They said it took twice as long to fill their quota, not because there's no kingfish, it's because they chose to. They use smaller nets.
Yes.
Oftentimes
in
they
business,
want to burn more fuel.
Yeah, oftentimes in business, I like to take longer to make money if I can.
Yes.
Like,
well,
making it fast is annoying.
Fairness there, I'll say this: if they were smarter, they would catch less fish at a time, take better care of them, and get 2 or 3 times the money for them.
That's what they were claiming. It's interesting to say the least. But we are up against the break, Captain Van. How would someone get a hold of you if they wanted to chat more or go fishing with you?
CaptVan.com.
That's it. We appreciate you, Van. Thanks for giving us a shout this morning.
All right, cuz. Take care, y'all.
See you later, brother.
Take care, Captain.
Take care, Cap.
Bartow Ford Real Animals Radio Show. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Yeah, it's pretty interesting, to say the least.
I like a good spicy meeting.
It was very controversial between the kingfish, the lanes, and then the groupers. The grouper conversation was not great.
Speaking of kingfish, the Key West Kingfish Mayhem or whatever the tournament's called now. I guess yesterday was the first day.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see Pro Marine's post?
No.
So they did the live video from the shotgun start. They got that new 37 front runner cat. Bro,
Smoked everybody.
82 miles an hour.
Dude, I got news for you. I don't need to go 82 miles an hour in a boat.
No.
82 miles an hour, bro.
So they left everybody.
There were a couple that were running with them, but behind them.
Wow.
Yeah.
They took the name front runner.
Yeah.
Literally.
That's crazy.
Quad 500Rs. So
I've seen the boat.
2,000
He fuels
horsepower.
up at Don's dock occasionally.
Yeah.
And he was going through the pass the other day, and I was like, gosh, that's a nice boat.
They got I think they got a 31 and change yesterday. They're out of the top 5. I think 42 or something was first.
Wow.
But it's a 2-day aggregate tournament, so we'll see how today goes.
Hopefully they get a 60-pounder today.
Yeah. Looked like they were running west. Probably, I'm sure out towards the fort somewhere.
Mm-hmm. So wild. 82 miles an hour on a boat. That's crazy.
No, no, thank you.
That is too fast. That's face hurting speed.
Oh, dude.
You know?
Yeah. I was on a boat. I guess it was last week. And we turned a corner, and that wind was blowing. It was 34 or 36 or something in the morning we went out.
Yeah.
I was like I couldn't catch my breath, man. It was just so, like, I can't imagine going 82. That'd be...
Yeah. We had a jet ski back in the day. It was supercharged, and they claimed it would go 80. I only ever got it up to like 78, 79, but it would push your face.
Yeah.
Like, it was hard to get breath. So,
buddy of mine has a 20-foot lake in bay, like carbon Kevlar, whatever, and as he's gotten older, he's actually downsized the engine, but when he first got it, I'm pretty sure he had like a 250 or something. I think now he's just got a 200 on it, just for fuel efficiency, whatever. He had like a propped out 250, so he was down Pine Island Sound, down behind like Rat Key and, Chino Island down in that area. And he says, skinny water, trimmed out, jacked out, just on the pad, So a 20-foot boat, and you've got 6 inches of it in the water. And he comes around from behind an island, and like you said, the wind hit, and it literally started lifting the bow. Like the bow started getting, whoa, and he pushed, pulled the throttle back and dropped and played with the trim and dropped more of the boat in the water to catch.
That boat would probably do 70, 75.
Oh, yeah.
I was on a Hughes one time that they said would do 72, and we were in the mid-60s, and I was like, I'm not interested in more than what you got right here, brother.
Yeah.
Like, this does not feel
safe.
Yeah.
I hit the water going like 75, 77, and it knocked me out.
Off the jet ski?
Yeah, I was trying to get to the 79, 80 across the back bay, and I hit a little ripple. And it was enough to just totally eject me.
Dude, it's crazy.
Wow.
If I wasn't wearing a life jacket, I wouldn't be here today. Yeah. I kind of came to with my head bobbing in the water. It was nuts, dude. That was the last time I ever tried to go 80 miles an hour.
Yeah.
I get thrill seeking. It's just like,
It was wild.
that's wild.
Yeah. Water is not soft.
No.
Going that speed.
I don't know. When I was in Key West, I don't know what we did in Steve's personal 24 yellowfin, but it was, it was in the 70s, I think.
No. I'm disinterested in that. I'll get there a little bit behind y'all and be alive. What's wrong with 46?
That's like top for my boat.
Yeah, like
That's like low fuel, like trimmed out, jacked up. But my boat also rides like a Cadillac, though, so
Yeah.
there's that.
it's a cruise.
Yes. Although I've removed probably 4,000 pounds of old, wet, rotten wood out of it, so might going back composite might gain some.
Might ride high in the water and be not such a Cadillac, too.
No, yeah,
Some of that weight
More of a
low.
cork now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Bobbing
Low
around on top.
center of gravity is good, but
Hey,
yeah,
he's
but I got a bigger tank, and
he's got a mill now, so he can just lumber some wood onto it if he needs to.
not yet working on that. Working on a lumber mill.
This guy.
lumber mill.
Dylan Hubbard.
We're back, Bartow Ford, Real Animals Radio Show, talking fishing this morning, and hopefully hearing from you as well. Remember, 1-800-969-9352 is the phone number. If you want to call us and ask questions, say hello, or just give us a fishing report, tell us what's going on your side of the water. Whatever you want to do, give us a call, 1-800-969-9352. Want to make sure we give a shout out to our friends over at Relentless Perpetual Edge Knives. This is the world's first self-sharpening knife that actually sharpens as it cuts. ultra hard carbide, never rust titanium blade with a true grit glass reinforced ABS handle on a knife that is perfectly balanced. And it comes in 5 great models to choose from. Take the work out of filleting a pile of fish and get your Relentless Knives today. Go to relentlessknivesusa.com to find out for yourself why this is the knife all the pros are talking about. Never rust titanium blade. It's true.
You said you've had some down by the docks for
Can't get it to rust.
84 years.
Yeah, it's nuts. It truly is. Good whiskey costs money, as you say, Travis. I love that saying. I use it all the time now. And, yeah, it's definitely an amazing piece of beaver technology, as Capt Mike would say.
I love mine. I got one, and then I bought another one. So one stays in the boat, and then one's actually a kitchen knife. Dude, it's great in the kitchen, man. You know, carving up meat.
That's weird.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's okay. Tell me
you
more.
got fillet knives in your drawer in your kitchen?
I mean, I have fillet knives in
Yeah,
my
you
drawer in my
don't?
kitchen.
Yeah, no. And I mean,
we have kitchen knives as well, obviously.
Oh, okay.
But it's great. I mean, I buy, like, you know, whole briskets or whole tenderloins, whatever, and you got to, you know, trim your own meat. And, oh, it's great.
Yeah. You're just
Wonderful.
processing
Just a wizard.
slabs of meat in your kitchen after you're done
After I come in from the lumber mill.
What night was that? Tuesday night. We get a text at like 9:30, and Bobby says, "Hey, I'm looking at getting a lumber mill if you guys need anything milled." And I'm like, "Yeah," because Dylan and I are out here like.
What kind of friend do you have that's like, yeah, I'm gonna buy a lumber mill, guys?
Yeah,
you need some lumber?
Sure. Yeah, Tom Sawyer. I'll see what we're gonna flow down the Mississippi this week. We'll just run it by when the logs come in.
Oh, so funny.
I didn't even know what to do with that.
Yeah, it was pretty funny, to say the least.
Well, I officially rescind my offer for cheap, affordable lumber.
You guys can buy your lumber at Home Depot.
Yeah, now we gotta go. We gotta find a different lumber source.
Yeah, y'all can buy that crooked crap. You know, it's not even a straight board.
Oh my gosh.
So you were tired of going to Lowe's and you just decided to take matters in your own hands, huh, Bobby?
It happens. It happens. Oh my gosh.
Pretty funny. So we mentioned earlier at the Gulf Council meeting about lane snapper. We talked to Captain Van Hubbard about the Gulf Council meeting discussions surrounding kingfish. The grouper side of things was definitely something we wanted to talk about. A lot of people interested in gag grouper, and I was myself pretty darn interested in what the ultimate outcome would be as far as the gag grouper side of things. And it wasn't good, unfortunately, as far as gag grouper are concerned. Essentially, what they're claiming is that there is an overage in the ACL for 2024, and it's still preliminary. So that is the big message takeaway that you want to focus on here. This discussion we're about to have is preliminary. The numbers are preliminary. The FWC is still working with NOAA OST, Office of Science and Technology, and they are hopefully going to evaluate some of these outliers, some of these big. There's a couple landings that are saying, oh, we got 30-pound gag grouper, and that throws off the numbers significantly when you have these data outliers. So they're hopefully going to smooth some of that out, and potentially those preliminary numbers could go down, but also you run the risk of going back up. Yeah. So, or not changing at all, which is often the case. So preliminary numbers indicate that the total landings were 270,000 pounds of gag grouper in that 15-day season in 2024, which isn't sounding like a lot, right? But unfortunately, what we were supposed to land is about 170. So
wow.
We're
over by 100.
Yeah, we're over by 100. Now, we are in a rebuilding plan for gag grouper, which means there's severely reduced catch limits. But these rebuilding plans, you get a bigger catch limit every year. So this last year, we had an overage from 2023. So 2024's 15-day season was because there was an overage. There had to be a payback. So that's why we had 15 days in 2024 because of that overage. So the season was reduced to 170,000 pounds. It should have been like 280, almost 300,000 pounds. So if we weren't under that payback, these 270,000 pounds landed wouldn't have caused an overage.
Does it compound though? Now, do we have to pay back the overage now?
Exactly. That's what happened. That's what is happening in the South Atlantic with red snapper.
Yeah.
You have a small quota because of a rebuilding plan. You went over it, and then you have to have payback. And then the next year you go over it again. The next year you have to have payback. And the quota just gets smaller and smaller and smaller because of this never-ending cycle of paybacks. And that's what brought the South Atlantic to its knees on red snapper. And I'm really hoping we don't go there with gags. So essentially, this coming year, we should have had a quota for 2025 that was almost 400,000 pounds, like 390. And if there wasn't a payback, I was looking at potentially looking at the estimates. We should, in 2025, have gags open for almost the whole month of September, potentially even more, like a 30 or 40-day season this year in 2025. But because of the payback, again, preliminary, so it could change. But if it doesn't change, our quota this year will be 211,000 pounds. And as you heard earlier, in 2024, in 15 days, we landed 270.
Yeah.
So if our quota in 2025,
10 to 12 day,
if that, you're looking at like a 7, 8, 9, 10-day season in 2025 if these preliminary numbers don't change. Not good.
Wow.
Not good at all.
how did that conversation go over at the Gulf Council meeting?
I was pretty pissed.
Yeah.
I had to stand up and walk out, and it's ugly. And there was even conversation about just totally closing it, because my thought is an 8-day season, when we were supposed to have a 30 or 40-day season, if we just didn't open gags at all, then you bank all that extra quota.
That's what I was going to ask.
Then 2026, we would have potentially a 45, 50-day season.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So that conversation actually came up, which is crazy to even think about. We were discussing asking for no gags. It's crazy to think about. But honestly, my biggest fear is getting into that South Atlantic problem where we have these
That death
paybacks.
spiral.
It's just
or what-
perpetual
yeah.
to where
Yeah.
you're right.
So, because as the season gets shorter, what happens? Less supply creates more demand. So if you
higher pressure,
Yeah.
faster.
So it's really hard to know where the landings are going to be. So if last year we had a 15-day season, we caught 270,000 pounds. This year, if they set a 7-8-day season, everybody's excited to go get their one gag. Everybody goes fishing. Potentially, you're even higher.
Right.
So
Then you're paying that back.
yeah. So the conversation came up about, well, what happens if we totally close it? Well, 2026, we'd have a nice long 40-day season or more, but they can't even do that. That's not even an option not to open it this year, because the only way to do that is to do an emergency rule, and that emergency rule would have had to happen at this council meeting, be requested at this council meeting, and we're under a moratorium on federal regulations.
Oh, who has to trigger that emergency rule? Is it the council itself?
The council has to request it. Then the RA, the regional administrator for NOAA Southeast Region, would have to execute it. But those emergency rules take about, it's the
Months.
fastest way for federal regulation, and it takes months.
Yeah.
But right now there's a moratorium. There's no new federal regulation, so they couldn't even implement an emergency rule.
Wow.
So it's scary. It's scary. It's not gags. I'm very concerned about gags, but it is preliminary, so things could change. There is still hope, hopefully.
The upside is this is not the South Atlantic,
Yeah.
so there's that.
Mm-hmm.
Yet,
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're far from that, but it is
Yeah.
definitely on the radar, right?
right?
So, not good. Not good on gags. And then scamp grouper and yellow edge grouper are facing huge cuts as well. But those won't come until much later. But yeah, scamp grouper, yellow edge grouper, snowy grouper, a lot of those species, we're going to see significant closures. So potentially they were discussing scamp grouper seasons being implemented as soon as 2026 or maybe 2027. So we'll go from a 12-month scamp grouper fishery down to if they choose the summer, a 2 or 3 month scamp grouper season. If they choose the fall, maybe a 4 or 5 month scamp grouper fishery. So yeah, it's looking ugly on the grouper side of things.
That's wild.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we'll have.
It's surreal to even talk about.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll have seasons on yellow edge, on snowy grouper, on scamp grouper, on red grouper, on gag grouper, and and things are changing for sure.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's gonna hit a crescendo at some point, but yeah. So that was the negative side of things. Lanes are good though.
I remember being a
There's
kid.
that.
I remember being a kid and like reading about trout fishing and stuff out in the West, and they would have seasons.
Yeah.
And as a kid, I remember thinking, we don't have fishing seasons. Like, that's crazy. Who has fishing seasons? And now,
There's a fishing season for everything.
yeah, it's just becoming more and more pervasive. And I get it. Like, I get fisheries management. It's just,
Yeah.
when you look back, that's like not that long ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I'm not that old. You guys aren't that old. When we were kids, there were no seasons.
Yeah.
It's wild to think about. Even in the history of Hubbard's Marina, right? I mean, I still have photos of a dock covered in dead tarpon. You know, we didn't know what we didn't know.
Right. You learn, you get better, you change, you adapt.
Yep.
Yeah, and technology, people, a lot of things changed the game, and things are evolving. And the Gulf of Mexico is a beautiful place, and a lot of people like to live here, and a lot of people like to fish here. And there's only a pie, and it doesn't get any bigger. There's only a certain carrying capacity in the Gulf of Mexico, so only so many fish can grow and live and be successful. And as more people want to go out there and get a piece of that pie.
I don't like to talk about carrying capacities. That gets me in trouble when we go down that road.
The carrying capacity for
manatees is what got me in the most trouble ever.
Yeah, the manatee conversation will get us all in trouble. That and black bears and all the charismatic megafauna.
I mean, I tend to stay in trouble, so whatever.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Sharks.
Yeah.
Sharks are a big one.
Yeah, sharks are a huge problem, but unfortunately, it's an ongoing issue. We talked about it in last week's live show, how it's not only a fisheries problem, but it's also like a societal problem, right? Because it's like black bears. If FWC starts talking about black bears, then everybody and their brother
has an opinion.
Shows up who's not a hunter, who's not a fisherman, who's not an outdoorsman, but there's a strong opinion about it from people who like black bears.
So if you're
it's the same thing.
If you're
sharks.
listening and want to dig into that, there's a guy named Dan Decker. I think he was at Penn State, and he did a whole paper on the human dimensions of wildlife management.
Interesting.
Because the idea is like,
I want to read that.
We tend to think science drives wildlife policy, and it does.
It should.
But let me talk about turkeys for a second, okay? You can kill 2 turkeys if you get a permit or anything else in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
I could double the amount of turkey opportunities by saying you can only kill 1. Now I could double the opportunities for people. But Human Dimensions has determined that people like the idea of being able to go out and shoot 2 turkeys. So there's like always a social aspect to every regulation we make.
Yeah.
There's a reason we hunt ducks and not cardinals. There's a reason we keep snapper and not tarpon. Like there's human dimensions involved in all of that stuff. So it is easy to say science drives wildlife policy. Social science has to have a hand in it, as uncomfortable as that makes us feel sometimes.
That's interesting stuff. Hopefully we'll hear from you as well. Remember, 1-800-969-9352. If you have a question, comment, fishing report, give us a shout. Hopefully we'll hear from you. Bartow Ford Real Animals Radio. We'll be right back.
Yeah, science drives fisheries, but social science is also science.
Yep. Because exactly, like, that's a social science determination, right? Do we close for a year so that we can have a longer season in 2?
Yeah. Paul Brown said, "Bob the Builder, he can build anything." Yes, he can.
I mean, that's immediately where my mind went, even before Dylan mentioned the possibility of closing so that you don't continue to go over and over and over. You know, like, I was like, well, shit. I mean, it sucks to, like, want to close it, but what if you just close it and stop that perpetual cycle of going over, you know?
Yeah.
Sacrifice now for the good of the future, you know?
We were having this conversation. I stopped for a second. I was like, I cannot believe we're having this conversation right now. But unfortunately, it's not even realistic to get that done. Van Hubbard said, "We complained when they put a 12-inch minimum size limit on grouper." That's awesome. Yeah, I remember when I was real young, it was eight gags per person per day. And then it went to 6, and then it went to 4, and now it's at 2.
That's wild, man.
Yeah. back in the day, the overnighter would go out and catch so many gags. They'd fill up all the fish boxes and pack fish in the bathroom. And once they ran out of room for fish and ice, they would come in, unload the fish, and then go back out to finish the trip.
God, Mike.
Yeah. Didn't know what we didn't know.
Yeah, I think when I really started getting into the inshore gag fishing, I want to say it was like 22 inches and like a 4 bag limit or something.
Yeah. $22 inches. It was 18 when I started, I think, and then it got up to 20 and then 22 and now 24.
Yeah. I remember when it went from 18 to 20.
Yeah.
Because it felt like for a while there, everyone we caught was
19
and 3/4.
Crazy.
Dude, that's a spicy trip.
Yeah. It is.
Like, usually you go to those meetings and you have one thing that's
Right.
spicy.
No.
It
The
sounds
golf
like
council meetings are always extra spicy.
Yeah.
And it's always really slow, right? So we're talking about this scamp grouper season. Potentially, we wouldn't see that regulation in place until 2026 at the earliest, but really, realistically, 2027.
Right.
So these meetings, decisions are made, like this lane snapper decision to go from 8 to 10 inches. We won't see that regulation in place until the end of this year, if not next year. So it's a really frustrating process. Unlike state level, where FWC makes a
Pretty
decision
agile.
and it's rule in an hour and a half.
Yeah, there's a press release before the meeting's over.
Yeah. It's crazy. The difference is stark. Because the Golf Council is an advisory body, whereas FWC is
governing,
unilaterally in control of fishing.
Constitutionally created.
Yeah. So the Golf Council simply advises NOAA Fisheries on what these regulations will be, and then NOAA has to make the rule. The federal rulemaking process is as arduous as it can be. It's crazy. Sorry to disappoint, guys. Just Captain Dylan Hubbard this morning with our good buddies, Captain Travis Thompson and Captain Bobby Woodard in studio this morning. Captain Mike's out crushing softballs, probably hitting like
Bombs.
Yeah,
he's
home run
hitting
after
bombs.
home run. It's crazy. His softball team. I met a couple of the guys. Like Mike's the average size person. These dudes look like they could just they could take over
Just
a
animals.
country.
Just
Yeah.
absolute animals.
It's wild. It's unnerving, honestly.
Real animals is an appropriate name when you think about it that way.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Well, they all wear the real animals hats too.
Do they?
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
Yeah.
You know what's funny too? You get to that level, and like you hit a bomb,
Mm-hmm.
you don't even have to like go around the bases, and like legit, like because it just makes the game take forever because everybody's just hitting bombs,
Yeah.
and so you just I think depending upon which league or sanctioning body you might have to touch 1st,
Mhm.
or some of the other ones you just turn around and go to the dugout.
Yeah, Mike said he doesn't even have to go to first.
Yeah,
He just
don't-
hits a
yeah,
home
okay,
run
yeah,
and
so
walks back
yeah.
to the dugout.
Yep.
I was like, so you don't even walk the bases now?
That's beneath them.
I don't even know what that feels like. Like, I don't even know. Like, this is like a foreign concept. I was a gap hitter. Like,
Yeah.
Like,
Threading the needle.
I'm unfamiliar with the bombs terminology.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
But also, like, if Mike was on here, his sleeves on his shirt are a lot tighter than my sleeves are on my shirt. Same size shirt, probably, but
Yeah. He said they won 3 games yesterday, and they're going to keep playing today. So if they keep winning, they'll be playing tomorrow, too. So you never know. Hopefully they keep winning.
yeah,
We'll see.
that's a great hobby, man.
He
Like,
got
what are-
3 rings last year. 3 rings. It's crazy.
like won tournaments or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he's on like 3 different teams.
Really,
Yeah. Dude is 8 up softball.
good for him, man. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great outlet.
Yeah, you gotta stay busy. Keep yourself out of trouble, right?
Yeah.
Always
Yes.
a good idea.
Yes.
Yes, for sure. Gotta have hobbies. And for us, it's talking fishing this morning. You want to join the conversation? Give us a call, 1-800-969-9352 to join the conversation. And turkey season is on the horizon, so duck season is still going.
Duck season, today's the veterans hunt. I think they get a weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I think today and tomorrow veterans can hunt.
Okay.
That was really cool that the legislature and the feds did that. And then next weekend's the Youth Day.
Okay.
So there's only
Tail
one
end
Youth
of
Day.
duck season.
Yeah, like they do that at the end because ducks plume out over the
Mhm.
course of the season, so they get prettier.
Oh, nice.
So if you shoot one on Youth Day, like that's a good one to get mounted sometimes because there's also a Youth Day before the season.
Mm-hmm.
That's the day to go kill a whole bunch of them.
And then after that, you just start getting ready for turkey.
Yeah, I don't do I'll do turkeys with like VIPs, but I don't do guided turkey stuff. Like I do turkeys.
Bobby's building lumber mills,
Yeah,
and
and
Travis
I'm
only
running
takes VIPs.
VIP turkey hunts.
Okay.
You should see his list. He texted me, I don't know, a year or two ago. I reached out. I'm like, you do turkey hunts? And he sends me his list of like upcoming clients he had booked.
Yeah, they're all blacked out and redacted.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I'm not eat up with turkey hunting. Like a lot of people, like they get into turkey hunting.
Mhm.
Like most people are like, that's the best
Yeah.
because it's all like call and response and running and gunning and like it's.
We have a turkey problem. They keep coming into the barn and hanging out.
I saw
during
that at
parties.
your
That was a
event.
crazy
like
video.
they're just hanging
Yeah.
out there, and I'm sure there's some people that'd be willing to help you with that problem.
A lot of people offered that.
Yeah,
I posted that
exactly.
video to our supporters page, and they were all like, "Hey, I'll come."
I
take care of those
enjoy if
turkeys."
somebody likes to turkey hunt. I enjoy going with them, but I'm not like turkeys. Don't make me want to get out of bed in the morning.
Yeah.
Like that seems like some effort that I got put in. I can sleep in that time. And traditionally, March is when your white butterflies start showing
Yeah.
up. So like
Yeah.
when I used to guide for tarpon, I'd finish ducks, I'd shift to tarpon, and so I want to be on the water in March and April.
Yeah.
April's when you're going to start flying fish.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
In March, you just start chasing them.
You'll start hearing rumors of
March
fish
is,
showing
March
up.
is when
and-
you go snook fishing, but you have a couple tarpon rods in the boat.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, or you out trout fishing and one blows up on
Yeah.
a
On a trout.
Oh,
No, no.
dude, that was the day I switched from mono to braid on my inshore spinning reels.
Okay.
But Jug Creek Shoal, 3 in a row, cork goes down, set the hook, start reeling in, got a trout coming, tarpon takes the trout.
hammers them.
Whoa.
Re-rig, rebait, recast, bobber goes down, trout starts coming to the boat, tarpon nails it. 3 in a row.
Whoa.
And I was like, okay, maybe we should give this new braid. I mean, this is back in the day.
Yeah.
Maybe we should give this new braided line that's on the market a try.
There's nothing like having like a cork out there though with a 3,000 reel on it,
Yeah.
and you're expecting a little trout to roll up and
You get slammed by a
it's a
tarpon.
5 foot
Yeah.
long tarpon just hammering it.
Yeah.
And that was in March.
That was, that was March. That was trout fishing.
So February is too early.
Yeah, February's for sheep's head.
Okay.
February's Miami tarpon.
We've got Captain Jim Fogle on the line for our safe boating tip of the week. That's coming up next, and hopefully we'll hear from you as well. Remember, 1-800-969-9352 to join the conversation. Real Animals Radio will be right back with another whole hour. Don't go anywhere.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I was fishing my old ball.
The preceding program was paid for by Real Animals Fishing.
News Radio 970 WFLA, Tampa, 97.9 FM, WXTV HD2 Clearwater, Tampa Bay's home for
Lake County Sheriff's deputies are asking for anyone with information regarding an armed robbery at a 7-Eleven in Eustis around 1 a.m. on Wednesday. Fox 35 spoke to the store clerk, who can be seen on security camera being robbed at gunpoint.
He didn't even hesitate. He walked in the door. I was mopping. I greeted like I always do, and he met me at the cooler doors at gunpoint.
The suspect, described as a slender black man around 6 feet tall, wore a black hoodie and black pants and carried a drawstring backpack. He was seen fleeing southwest on State Road 44. Preliminary numbers from the National Weather Service says it's been a colder than normal January for much of Florida. Rodney Wynn is a meteorologist with the National Weather Service forecast station in Ruskin.
Between 10 to 20 days that were below normal for west central and southwest Florida.
Wynn says temperatures around Florida have been 3 to 8 degrees below normal for January. Parts of North Florida saw temperatures 8 to 10 degrees below normal, while most of South Florida locations were off just 2 to 4 degrees. The Learjet that crashed shortly after takeoff in Philadelphia was in Florida hours before the crash. FlightAware data shows that the Learjet left Opa-locka Executive Airport at around noon and arrived in Philadelphia at around 2 p.m. 4 hours later, it crashed 30 seconds after takeoff, killing all 6 on board. The St. Pete Police SWAT team made an arrest Friday morning following an investigation into a plot to commit murder. According to the St. Pete Police, 47-year-old Jason Foley has been accused of plotting to kidnap, sexually assault, and murder a child. Investigators said they were informed of the plot by an out-of-state law enforcement agency that told the department that Foley and another...
Magic tarpon bait catfish.
Somebody listening to this is going to agree with me. Captain Van knows about this. Captain Van, if you're still
I was
listening...
say either Van or Bill Miller.
Tell him what's up with catfish.
Catfish is the secret late-season tarpon bait, is what Travis was talking about.
It's not a secret. Like, I wouldn't know about it if it was a secret.
August, September.
August, September, catfish is money.
Cut the fins off first.
Yeah, because you don't want to fin yourself.
Yeah. All right. But I feel like when you cut the fins off, it's more easy to fin yourself.
It is. Because then you got a little stubby one there instead of the
absolutely.
big one.
I like the barbs on there.
Because you can get behind it and hold it.
Easier to hold them. I made that mistake cutting the fins off one time. Then you got those little stubs and they're sharp. Yes.
It's like the poison just goes straight into you.
Quicker injection.
I used to use so many of them, I got to a point where it didn't bother me. It bothers me again now, but like I almost built up like a
immunity to the
we would go catch 20 catfish and then go catch tarpon.
Dan Hubbard said, catfish work, but there's nothing better than shad.
Yeah. If you can get them now.
If you can get them.
Yeah.
Catfish are easier for me to come by than shad.
Yeah, for me too.
Like, there's degrees of this, right? Like, you're talking about a guy here that's, I'm operating at the best level I got is catfish.
Yeah. you have to be a Van Hubbard or a Bill Miller or somebody like that to be able to consistently get shad.
Catfish is peak Travis, so like shad is absolutely better.
Like Jay Mastery,
yeah.
You gotta be one.
Travis is
hardhead catfish is peak Travis. Like,
Van said cut the entire head off. So you're talking about just using the body of a catfish?
Oh,
then you get rid of all the barbs.
Wow, he's cutting from the fin up.
Yeah, behind the barbs.
No, I was fishing them live, man.
Yeah, I've done the dead catfish on the bottom for tarpon, and that worked out really well.
Or strips. I've done strips of them too.
I've never
filleting them.
Yeah.
I've never done the live thing.
I promise you, it's gonna change your life.
John's past tarpon like carcasses, grunt carcasses, gray snapper carcasses.
All right. Yeah. What you need to do, you got to test the tarpon. You got to test the tarpon with the catfish now.
Dude,
sounds like it.
Can you assign that to somebody and see if we can get some data on this?
Hey, I'm gonna try it in the hole, like in the past.
I've never fished them in the past.
I'll drop one. I mean, dude,
it's probably not a natural bait in the past though.
If I'm dropping a squirrel fish,
yeah.
Why can't I drop a catfish?
I have caught a tarpon on a catfish on the beach before.
Yeah.
You gotta video that, like hooking the catfish, dropping it down, and then cut to a tarpon fight.
I'll give it a try.
That'd be cool.
I don't usually have catfish when I'm on the beach, but I happened to have one that morning, and it was perfect. It was about 8 inches long. It wasn't a very big one. Dude, that sucker got slammed.
Yeah.
On the beach?
Yes.
There's no catfish on the beach.
No. Oh, well, yeah, there are.
Yeah, there are.
Not as many. You're talking about using it in Mayak cutoff, which catfish abound.
Yeah.
Up in you're using a natural bait in a natural area.
Yeah.
Whereas like tarpon cruising the beach aren't going to encounter a catfish.
Yeah, but I don't think fish think about that much.
Yeah. Just fishermen. We overthink it.
Yeah, like ducks that migrate down here, they've seen like geese all along, and people. I used to use a goose call on bluebills in the bay, and there's no geese. But they're used to seeing geese and hearing geese everywhere they are. Except they don't know that, I'm in Florida now. I crossed they're not reasoning this out. The tarpon's not like, oh, dude, that catfish doesn't belong here. It's a freaking catfish.
All right. Touche.
I could possibly see your point more like if we're talking like residential.
Like match
fish.
the hatch.
Oh, well, I'm picking on you, but at the same time, I'm like, they won't bite shrimp if shrimp aren't running.
Yeah.
Like
exactly. My point, Travis.
I see both sides. Like with a residential fish, like they want something like that they're used to seeing, but like with migrating fish,
You don't know any better?
Yeah. Like I see both sides there.
I used to also believe that, like, if shrimp were running, you needed to fish something different
to stand out.
Yeah. I don't think that ever worked.
But the mullet
WFLA AM, its staff, management, or parent company, iHeartMedia Incorporated.
Welcome to the Bartow Ford Real Animals Radio Show, your weekly voyage into Florida fishing. Presented by Hubbard's Marina, hosted by Captain Mike Anderson and Captain Dylan Hubbard.
We're back, Bartow Ford Real Animals Fishing Conversation, talking fishing this morning with Captain Bobby Woodard of Fly 'em High Charters, Captain Travis Thompson of All Florida, and myself, Captain Dylan Hubbard of Hubbard's Marina. Want to give a shout out to our friends over at Affordable Roofing Systems. Whether you need a shingle, metal, tile, or flat roof, our friends at Affordable Roofing Systems are your safest choice for repairs or replacements. With over 3 decades of roofing experience, let Affordable Roofing Systems guide you through this important process. They are defined by integrity, respect, and honesty, and they have a professional approach to doing business. Call 888-397-ROOF for your free estimate or visit them online at affordableroofingflorida.com. With that, we've got our good buddy Captain Jim Fogle from the Coast Guard Auxiliary on the line with our safe boating tip of the week. What's going on, Captain Jim? How are you, buddy?
Hey, Captain Jim.
Hey, yeah. Good morning, captains. You got a posse in there.
Oh,
Dylan?
yeah. Rolling deep this morning.
Yeah, I hear it. In fact, I may even learn how to build a house there. Now you guys are buying lumber mills.
If you need any lumber milled, just hit Bobby up. He'll be able to help you out.
We've got a lumber mill company now.
I shall. Good, yeah.
My offer is only to everybody other than these two.
I got you. Yeah. Listen, I guess you guys have already mentioned this morning, but it's pretty foggy out there. At least at my house it is.
Yeah.
So, don't go out until it lifts. Have a couple of extra cups of coffee, do some more rigging, clean some gear, check over that equipment on your boat, do some of that stuff that you normally don't do before you go out. If you are out and you have got to go out or get caught out there, first thing to do is please slow down. Slow that boat down a lot, okay? Get off the plane. You want to hear and you want to see and be seen. You want to get your lights on, and you want to get out of the channel. The big boys need the channel. Most of us with smaller boats don't need the channel. We can run right along the outside of the channel, and it's a whole lot safer. You want to make sure everybody's got their life jackets on. You probably ought to get your mag light out in case you need to confirm a marker or something. And you want to be listening carefully. Turn those tunes off. Put one of your crew people up in front so they can see and hear as soon as possible. It's okay to keep talking, but please have everybody pay attention. Make sure they understand how important it is. If you have to, sound your horn signals. Power boats, one prolong every 2 minutes. At least make sure people know you're out there, and you want to see and hear them as soon as you can too. There's some characters out there. Hopefully it's none. I'm sure it's not 2-3. There are people out there that think they can see better at night and in the fog without lights on. Well, that means nobody can see you.
Mm-hmm.
But for goodness sake, pay attention out there. We've had several bad accidents over the years. We've been pretty lucky this year so far, but we don't want to mess up that luck. So stay alert. If you have to anchor up, if you get so nervous and it's so bad that you want to try and wait it out, get anchored out of the channel and make sure you got an anchor light on. Also sound that horn every so often.
Great tips.
We don't want anybody whacking anybody else during this time. The weather's going to be getting real good here pretty soon. In fact, it's already been pretty good. But you can wait. You can wait an extra morning or an extra day if you have to.
Yeah, the water is still so cold, so you have that sea fog settling in the morning and overnight.
Yeah.
Egmont Key Buoy last week was 52 degrees.
Wow.
Yeah. It's up.
Wow.
Yeah. It was 58 degrees yesterday when I looked at the Egmont Key Buoy. So it is warming up. This morning it's 59 degrees. So it's warming up fast. I had someone give us a call yesterday, and they wanted to do a snorkeling trip. I was like, it's a little too early to go snorkeling, guys.
Just pee in the wetsuit
or somewhere, huh?
Yeah. What'd you say, Bobby?
Just pee in the wetsuit.
Wetsuit and snorkeling in Florida don't go together. We don't have wetsuits, buddy.
No?
No. We just don't go in the water until it warms up.
You can tell the bougie guys have been overseas snorkeling.
Yeah. Just pee in the wetsuit. That's Bobby's bougie advice.
Cold water actually helped probably kept the traffic down over in Gasparilla last weekend. There were, I only know of 3 BUIs, but supposedly the boat traffic was about 50% of what it usually is. So in a congested area like that, that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good job, guys.
Yeah, the law enforcement presence was real at Gasparilla.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there were over 100 law enforcement vessels out there. And that doesn't count the drones and choppers that were up, too. So they were keeping an eye out.
Good.
For sure.
All right, guys. Thank you for the time. For the Coast Guard Auxiliary in St. Pete, Jim Fogel, be safe out there.
Thanks, Captain.
Thanks, Cap.
Appreciate it, buddy, as always. We've also got Jeff from Lake Alfred on the line. We're going to go to him here in a second.
Imperial Polk County. But don't forget, 1-800-969-9352 is the phone number if you want to call in with a question, fishing report, or say hello. Give us a call. Jeff from Lake Alfred, what's going on, buddy? What's up, Jeff?
Good morning, guys.
Good morning, my friend. How are you?
Good. I was trying to plan a trip maybe offshore next weekend, and I was just curious what you've been finding near shore, offshore, maybe 10 or 20 miles. You've been finding any of the reds that close, or if you got to go a little further up?
Yeah, for us, near shore is up to 100 feet. So that's pretty much a deeper near shore trip. And right now you are catching some red grouper out there, but it's a little bit more difficult. You got to stick and move quite a bit, and you're catching a lot of undersized red grouper. There's a good number of lane snapper in that area. Fishing around 40 foot, you'll get a lot of hogfish, a little less lanes, but your chance for hogfish is still pretty good. Hogfish bite best in those cooler months. Once we start to warm up, they spread out and they get a little less concentrated, making them a little bit more tricky. So this is kind of a good time of year to take advantage of that last good push of hogfish concentration. So around 40 foot with live shrimp, 30-pound fluorocarbon, 3/4-aught hook, 1 2-ounce egg sinkers is a good idea. And then if you're fishing deeper than that, around 50, 60, 70 foot, we start to see a lot of lanes, and you start to have a better chance for those red grouper up to about 100 foot. And then once you get past 100, you start to get a better chance for those keeper red grouper. And we still see some lanes, but then the mangroves start to show up a lot better. And we're seeing the best red grouper action about 120 to about 160. That would be my kind of go-to if you wanted to get a lot of those big fat red grouper. But not to say you can't. I would definitely push it closer to 20 if you wanted to go for red grouper. And big dead baits are a good option, like strips of bonita, a whole squid, a squid strip, and a thread fin combined. Something big and smelly.
Maybe a strip of catfish?
Maybe. Who knows? Who knows? But, yeah, you definitely have a good shot for it. The weather is beautiful right now, so take advantage of it. And I would say this upcoming weekend would be a good time. That front side of the full moon, things should be coming to life for sure, Jeff.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at, too. It's funny you said that about the squid and the thread fin. I've had unbelievable luck with that.
Oh, yeah.
On the grouper.
The old buffet, they like it.
Yeah, went out a few weeks ago, going to try and get some sheephead and snapper about 50 to 60 foot. We couldn't get past those gag grouper. They're just, I think they're almost just extinct, but we can't keep from catching them.
Yeah. The gag grouper regulations right now are working off of the last assessment, which the terminal year of data in that assessment was 2019. So the current gag regulations are set on science in 2019. So science is not capturing what we're seeing on the water now, which is extremely frustrating. But there is a gag grouper assessment in the works, hopefully starting in 2026, and hopefully that'll change things. But that won't be available, and they won't start making regulations based on that until late 2027. So we're really not going to see gag grouper changes until late 2027 or 2028. So we have a few more years of this, but this is typical. I mean, we saw this with red snapper, right? Red snapper season got down to 3 days, and everybody was catching red snapper like crazy. And that was the conversation. Oh, these fish are extinct, but we're catching lots of them. So it is frustrating, but the upside, the silver lining is when regulations do change, the fishery should be extremely healthy. So
be very, very plentiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for that. It was a lot of useful information. Thanks, Dylan.
No problem, Jeff. Thanks for giving us a call this morning, and good luck out there.
Call us back. Let us know how it goes.
Okay. I'll do that.
See you, buddy. We also got Captain Mike Perry on the line from the Keys, Big Pine Key in particular, but we're going to wait to go to him because we are up against the break. So we've got Captain Mike on the other side. Hopefully we'll hear from you as well. Remember, 1-800-969-9352 to join the conversation. Real Animals Radio. We'll be right back.
John with Red said catfish work for cobia as well.
I've always heard that too. I'm not a cobia guy, but I've always heard that they work good for.
I've heard that as well. Catfish and cobia.
I've always heard this microphone work for cobia. Like, how you just get it in front of them and they'll eat it.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Very reactionary.
When we used to flats cobia fish in the wintertime, it was the craziest thing, skinny water fishing, you're like, oh, it's got to be the perfect cast. You got to lead them. You got to do this. You got to do that. And those cobia, we'd aim straight on top of their head.
Yeah.
Like, literally just try to splash it down right in front of their eyeball. And they're like, ooh, what's that? Ooh, I think I should eat it.
Dylan, when is the show going to take the position of the Gulf of America?
So we'll talk about that. Ask me that on the radio. Okay. That's an interesting question.
I got someone texted me and said, remind Dylan it's now the Gulf of America. Like,
it's not.
It's not.
Yeah, technically. So yeah, let's talk about that.
Okay.
That'll be an interesting segment.
Oh, the Strawberry Festival's coming, y'all.
Yep. Yeah, State Fair's going on now, isn't it? Or about to be?
About to be. It's coming up.
Yeah. I'm going to the Ag Hall of Fame dinner.
Of course you are.
On the 11th. That's it.
We all have a new agricultural Simpson is staying there, right? Yeah.
Mr. Simpson.
And until Travis gets in.
No. Negative. Oh, Commissioner Simpson's crushing it right now.
They filled Gates' seat too. The CFO.
He's running for it, right?
No, it's over.
It's over?
He won.
Really?
Yeah.
Petronas?
He got it.
I don't know that name.
He was the CFO of the state of Florida.
Oh, yeah.
So he was he voted, I don't know who he voted for. I couldn't tell you who he ran against. Like, CFO is not a position I
follow closely.
Yeah. I pay attention to ag and I pay attention to governor. But you vote for the CFO and you vote for the attorney general.
Okay.
Which was Ashley Moody. Now she's in the Senate.
Right.
What are you doing today? You got anything fun going on?
Probably going to the beach with the kids.
It's gonna be a beautiful day.
Yeah.
We've been going to the beach a lot. Hit the golf cart, drive over the bridge, nice and easy, and tires the kids out.
You sound like Spotswood. He's like, dude, I don't fish near as much as I used to. I just wear the kids out.
Yeah.
Sandbars and beaches.
Yep. Kids like to fish too, but their attention span's not great. So
it's got to be catching.
Yeah. And even that, it's still pretty short-lived. This time of year's tough.
Yeah.
Once it warms up, the old sabiki rig will catch you 3 mangroves at a time, 3 mangroves and a pinfish.
February used to be like a reset month for me because I'd finish duck season and then, kind of limp into the end of it because you do youth hunts and stuff, and then take 2 or 3 because there was nothing biting.
Yeah.
If you got a warm trend, you could get on some fish.
Yeah.
The snook are out. We're seeing big piles of snook, but they're just
not active,
sunning themselves.
Right.
Yeah. They won't eat anything.
They'll bite this week.
That's what I said. John Sasser, who fishes John's Pass all the time, sent me a video. There must have been 50 snook up in the shallows just warming themselves in a light at night. And he said they threw everything in the kitchen sink at them and couldn't even get them to move.
They won't even look at it.
Yeah.
I can't believe I'm about to say this, but the only trick I've ever tried in that has worked is a fly. Something so tiny.
Yeah.
Like, there's no effort to it for them.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only time I've ever... As a rule, I try to make fun of people that fly fish.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's kind of a thing I feel is good. I feel good about that in my soul.
Right.
I feel good. But in that case, I feel like that's probably the right move.
Yeah. Like a little teeny fly.
Yeah, like a little glass minnow or a little shrimp. A little crab.
Yeah.
Something small.
Yeah.
Presented by Hubbard's Marina. Now your captains, Mike Anderson and Dylan Hubbard.
Real Animals Radio, we're back. Captain Dylan Hubbard here, Captain Bobby Woodard from Flying High Charters, and also Captain Travis Thompson from All Florida in studio this morning. Want to give a shout out to our friends over at Relentless Perpetual Edge Knives, the world's first self-sharpening knife that sharpens as it cuts. An ultra-hard carbide, never rust titanium blade with true grit glass reinforced ABS handle on a knife that is perfectly balanced, and it comes in 5 great models to choose from with more to come. Take the work out of filleting a pile of fish today and get a Relentless knife. Go to relentlessknivesusa.com and find out for yourself why this is a knife all the pros are talking about. Definitely exciting stuff from Relentless Knives, and more to come, like I said. We mentioned it before. Captain Mike Perry is on the line from Big Pine Key. We've also got Donald from Lutz coming up as well. But Captain Mike Perry, how you doing this morning, buddy?
Hey, fellas, how's it going?
Hey, Captain Mike.
What's up, dude?
It's going, buddy.
Hey, I was over your guys' way, Bobby and Travis in Imperial Polk County.
God's country.
Monday. Yes. Well, let me tell you something. We called it spec country because Rick Gross and I, we put the hurt on the specs.
Nice.
And I'll tell you what, when Rick says we're fishing in the sticks, we're fishing in the sticks. I mean, we were in one spot where if you could have driven by and you wouldn't have seen us back in there. There's no way, man. And we put a hurt on them, doing that long. I love it. I'm so addicted to it. The long pole with the tiny micro jigs, and they just absolutely slam them. I mean, and what's even funner is when you get a bass, like even a 2 or 3 pound bass on one of those rods.
Yep.
It's an S show, if you know what I mean.
That's awesome.
We did. We put a hurt on them. We each took our share, and Lake Parker was where we were. It's no
Get
secret.
out of here.
Oh, okay.
Talking Lake Parker.
They're loaded. Now, I won't tell you which end we were in, but I will say this real quick before I get to my report. They were spraying out there, and I'm not talking 1 or 2 boats for I can't remember the type of weed the guy told me they were spraying for. There had to be 15 to 18 airboats spraying the day we were there. But I give them credit. They stayed away. Anybody who was up there spec fishing, which you could tell what people were doing, they stayed clear of those people till they left. So
that's good.
It was pretty busy. Yeah, pretty busy. But the fishing in the Keys, I just returned. The fishing when I left was cold weather fishing for the Keys. It got down to 49, and if anybody knows the Keys, that's cold for the Florida Keys. 49 is
that's
cold
sock weather.
Yeah, exactly. But the sail fishing, the pelagics are crazy. We're still getting a straggler mahi, Dylan, if you can believe that. Yeah, they're in the wrong place. And the bottom fishing, the snapper, you name it. If it's a snapper, it's coming aboard. And I even got into them and I had to talk to people out of it. We got into some actual American red snapper that were in the 10 to 15 pound range. I let them catch one or two. I descended them and everything, and they swam off and no problem. But it was nice to see some American reds, a good gaggle of them in that little in an area that I know where I didn't think there was any American reds. So it was nice to see. I marked that spot real quick for our 1 or 2 days we're allowed to have this coming year.
Yeah, the South Atlantic red snapper season. It could potentially be longer. They're talking about 5 to 7 days.
Potentially.
Yeah, with this Amendment 59.
I heard you talking about it a few weeks ago. And one more thing, happy belated birthday to you. I know you were off last weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations on another trip around the sun, as we call it, in Florida Keys. And thanks to my wife for listening for Christmas list, because I got myself a second Perpetual Edge Relentless knife.
Nice.
And the only warning they need on those is be extremely careful. These are extremely sharp, and you will cut your finger off. Not that I did, but you could real fast.
Well, don't use that second one in the kitchen, because these two here will just make mad fun of you.
No, they're fish cleaning only tools.
See, Bobby? Nice, Captain Mike. I'm glad you got yourself a new knife.
Be careful when you fillet them. You could cut right through the head when you go to zip down the fillets, especially smaller fish.
Yeah, it takes a little bit of getting used to using such a sharp, cool knife for sure.
Sure does. Okay, guys, listen, I'll let you go. I know you're busy. God bless. Tight lines from the Florida Keys. Take a vacation, folks. Talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks Captain Mike.
Buddy.
We appreciate it, buddy. Always a pleasure to hear from our friend Captain Mike. And you had a question on break. What was that question?
Oh, somebody texted me in and said, do we need to remind Dylan that it is now the Gulf of America? And you were telling us that it's not the Gulf of America.
Well, as far as the Gulf Council is concerned, the Gulf of Mexico Fishery Management Council, that was actually named by an act of Congress, the MSA. So the Magnuson-Stevens Act,
which is fisheries. That's basically your Fisheries Management Framework Act.
Yes, and that act actually named the Gulf Council, the Gulf of Mexico Fishery Management Council. So it would take an act of Congress
to reverse that, to change that.
So what they're discussing is potentially just calling it the Gulf Council to get around that. And the discussion as far as like Captain Mike Mahoney brought up, if it's the Gulf of America, now all the regulations don't apply, so you can keep whatever you want. Technically, how they're addressing that is moving forward, new regulations would institute the Gulf of America, right? So any new regulation, but moving forward, essentially. So anything in the past that says Gulf of Mexico would still apply.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so it is not technically the Gulf of America as far as the Gulf of Mexico Fishery Management Council is concerned, because there's no act of Congress to reauthorize MSA.
So I'm going to be honest, and thank you, Alyssa, for that question. But I'm going to be honest. When we came in this morning, I was thinking about the Gulf of America thing, and then I was like, I don't know if I've ever heard Dylan say the Gulf of Mexico. He usually just says the Gulf.
Yeah.
I've always usually say the Gulf, and I know you always say Gulf Council. I know you always say like Gulf regulations. Like,
yeah.
So
it's rare for me to go all the way to the Gulf.
But then you did, and she happened to, with her type A personality, be listening and called you out on it. So there we go.
There you go. There's the explanation. It is still the Gulf of Mexico Fishery Management Council for now, but soon to be the Gulf Council. But everybody already calls it that anyway.
Yeah, I didn't know it wasn't the Gulf Council.
Yeah, right. All right, Real Animals Radio. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
From the local Lexus dealers, WFLA.
Yeah.
Like, can we name that something else?
Why we're changing names?
Yeah,
might as well.
Can we change Goliath Grouper back to Jewfish, please?
Yeah. Change the names, just change everything.
Did they say eaglets?
Yeah,
is that a baby eagle?
A baby eagle is called an eaglet. And bird flu.
I never knew that.
I can say some pretty controversial stuff right now about eagles dying.
But you thought manatee carrying capacity was going to get you in trouble.
Yeah,
talking about eagles.
I've been in enough trouble already today, probably. So I'm just going to let that slide.
Travis loves eagles, guys. It's his favorite bird.
Favorite animal.
It's a freaking pretty vulture. That's all it is. It's not even the prettiest of vultures. Everybody's, look at the eagles. No, I do not want to look at eagles. Don't make me look at them.
Nick Nieves said, where can you buy the knives? Relentless Perpetual Edge Knives. USA.com is the website.
Do you sell them at
Or
Hubbard's?
wait, no. RelentlessKnivesUSA.com. Sorry. RelentlessKnivesUSA.com. We don't sell them at Hubbard's, but Gator Gyms has them. And I believe Mahoney's does as well.
Yeah.
If you wanted to buy them in person.
Veteran-owned company.
Yeah.
Veteran-owned.
They were big supporters of Amendment 2. Like, I have nothing to not like about them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Good people, for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be in the 80s this week.
Yeah, buddy.
That's insane.
It's coming.
Yeah, it's supposed to be 81 Monday and Tuesday, 82 on Wednesday. So, it's going to warm up fast, baby. I like this time of year, though. It's 60 in the morning and 80s during the day.
I don't like ice cold weather, but I'm a good winter person. I like winter.
I like cold.
I don't agree.
I mean, I don't mind summer either. I like
Summer's
flip flops
the
and
best.
shorts.
I like that rolling back sweat when you walk to the truck at 5 a.m.
No thanks.
I don't hate it. You're exactly right, Dylan.
That's what I'm just absolutely just over. You know, born and raised here, obviously, as you guys are as well, but just been there, done that. Got
You're
the
dressed in
t-shirt.
a freaking down jacket like it's going to snow on us.
Okay, it's very light, FYI. And it was like...
You look stylish as
Where's the
hell, man. Like you're wearing Chelsea boots. You got on a poncho pearl snap shirt. You got a...
It's got boots, jeans,
67.
shirt.
It's 67 degrees in here. I don't have the muscles or the...
Oh.
Non-muscles.
Whatever that was. I don't know what that was.
Whoa!
That was aggressive. Hold on.
Okay, Bobby.
Tell D to get that dump button ready.
Yeah,
We're
right.
about to go at it.
Gotta turn his mic off.
You know what? Screw y'all and your lumber.
The muscles and non-muscles.
That's
Wow,
I
that
do
was-
actually, though. I do have some.
That was aggressive.
Hey, everybody has abs. It's just some you can see and some you can't.
Paul Brown said, "Fat boy weather almost over. I'm looking forward to the summer for sure."
I think I like cold weather just because it's so different than what I've had my whole life. Like it's not that like I like being cold. It's just different.
Yeah.
Look at Chris Myers. Like Chris Myers is like all casual in here. Bring on the heat. Like he's like ready for fishing.
He just wants AC.
He's
money.
want AC stuff.
We see right through you,
Yeah,
Brandon
Chris,
AC.
that is so transparent, dude.
That's funny.
There's
The
his
AC
ad
needs
running
to
right
cool
behind
in.
it. Yeah,
Ad is running.
all
Listen to
casual. Like, yeah, bring on the heat. Earliest you start seeing white bait show up
I
around
just
Placido area.
saw that. So I mean April is usually dependable.
Yeah.
I mean it'll be there before that, but
yeah.
What did you say?
Jerry Smith said, when is the earliest you start seeing whitebait show up around the Placido area? So it's
when it warms up, basically.
Yeah, the earliest you'll see it is sometime late February, early March, but
Yeah.
like you're not gonna be able to stay on it.
Right.
Yeah.
Unless you go to Devilfish.
Devilfish? What's that?
It's a key.
It's a key. It's the place to get bait in Charlotte Harbor. But like you're not just gonna roll out by the trestle or roll out onto the flats by at Placido and catch it. Unless you hit it just right. I'll also say that in March, if you'll chum a long time,
Yeah, you gotta be patient.
like don't get in a hurry.
Yeah.
Set an hour aside for catching bait. If you'll chum a long time, you'll get it.
Yeah.
Inside shell cut Jug Creek, Brian said.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you want to go across the
But that's a run from Placida.
Yeah, he was talking about Placida.
Your captains, Mike Anderson and Dylan Hubbard.
We're back. Bartow Ford Real Animals Radio, talking fishing. 1-800-969-9352 is the phone number. Hopefully we'll hear from you as well. Want to make sure we give a shout out to our friends over at Power Pucks, the world's first power supply trolling motor quick release bracket. It eliminates the need for exterior power plugs, which can snag lines, corrode easily, and just be an eyesore on the deck, cluttering up your deck. Go to pwrpux.com to find out for yourself why this is what all the pros are making the switch to, Power Pucks. We've got Donald from Lutz on the line. What's going on, Donald?
What's up, Donald?
Hey, Donald.
Hey, Donald. Hey, good morning to the Trace Amigos.
Trace Amigos, that's right. How are you this morning, buddy? We got a little bit of an echo in the background, by the way.
Really? That's weird, because I've got you on my regular phone, and maybe, Liz has the news on.
It's a little better now. So what's going on, man? How was your last kayak meetup? How'd you guys do?
It was a lot of fun. I couldn't believe how crystal clear the water was out there up in Tarpon Springs. We launched at that Sunset Beach Park there, and paddled out there, and it was great to see the grass, how healthy it was. So I was excited to see all that. Caught a couple nice trout. The wind picked up, but it was actually one of the better days. It was Saturday, a couple Saturdays ago, and then, we had the freezing weather. It was cold.
Yeah, it has definitely been pretty cold, but now it's warming up nice, and things are looking better and better. So it's an exciting time.
I know I've got another outing on February 15th, going to Bay Vista Park, Pinellas Point on the 15th, and that's I love Pinellas Point area down there. There's some great oyster beds.
Yeah, it's a good area for sure. Lots of area to cover.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. Get a bunch of food that I'm gonna do afterwards, and then can be my normal burgers and hot dogs. Doing something special for everyone because it's Valentine's Day, day after. So whoever shows up, we're gonna have a hell of a meal. So
That's
it'll be a
awesome.
lot of fun.
Well, glad to hear it, my friend. Look forward to an update and a report from the next kayak meetup on the 15th of February at Bay Vista Park. Thanks for the call, Donald.
Yeah. Hey, you guys take care, stay safe, tight lines, and don't run into anything out there.
Yeah, lots of fog rolling for sure, buddy. Thanks, Donald. We appreciate you, buddy.
We'll be back on the kayak. You guys take care, stay safe, and tight lines. Appreciate you guys.
See you, buddy.
Catch 'em up.
Thank
Bye, Donald.
you. Hall of Fame caller, Donald from Lutz.
Really? Yeah, he is a Hall of Fame caller.
Yeah, consistency is key, and he's got it. We've also got Captain Gene Hammond from Lines of Liberty on the line. What's going on, Captain Gene? How are you this morning, buddy?
What's going on, captains? How's it going this morning? It's a beautiful morning, isn't it? I should be fishing.
Yeah, it is gorgeous. I think a little bit of the rain and wind the early part of the day might scare some folks, but it's calming down quick. And behind that little disturbance this morning, it's going to be a beautiful day for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be beautiful. I got, it's a new year, a new day for Lines of Liberty, and we're just committed to getting as many veterans and first responders on the water as possible. I got a Marine Corps veteran tomorrow morning. I'll try to call in again tomorrow morning, but man, we're just rolling. And as always, we really appreciate Real Animals for your support and getting the word out there. Water is therapy.
Amen.
Yes.
Gives a chance for our veterans and first responders to get out there and relax a little bit with their families. And you know what? We spun off a new podcast on YouTube. We need to get you again, Dylan.
Yeah.
And just talk about fishing. We've been talking about red fishing and the kingfish season coming up. And tomorrow evening, we have a Navy veteran, Captain Ken Skaggs. He was a F-14 Tomcat pilot who's a good friend of mine. And he was actually in the Pentagon on 9/11. And if you remember where that plane hit, it hit the Navy section.
Wow.
So it hit so close to his desk that it cut off his exit and the route to the bathroom. And he had to be pulled out of there. So you got to listen to that one. Go on, just wherever you listen to podcasts, search for Lines of Liberty. It's a great little venue to raise awareness for our veterans out there, and we appreciate your support.
That's awesome. Thanks, Captain Gene, for all you do. That's good stuff.
Yeah, if you're a veteran out there, and we also need captains to help. Just go to linesofliberty.org. You can sign up there to fish with us as a veteran or first responder, or sign up to help us out. And we should have a good event coming up for Memorial Day, too. We're still working out the details, but I'll try to call in more often.
We appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. We appreciate you.
Take care.
Thanks, buddy. Have fun tomorrow. Linesofliberty.org. Good people over there.
Great organization.
Yeah, definitely check them out. And if you're a captain who wants to donate some time, some trips, or if you're a veteran or first responder who wants to get out there on the water, linesofliberty.org. Good people.
That's pretty wild being in the Pentagon with the plane crash.
Yeah, it's nuts, man. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Definitely life-changing experience, right?
Yeah, well, I was even thinking like he was an F-14 pilot.
Yeah, that's incredible on its own, right?
Yeah.
I can't say on the air what I was thinking, but I was like, that dude probably clanks when he walks around.
Definitely interesting to be a fighter pilot like that. I mean,
that's wild, man.
I've met and also know a couple. One from Winter Haven, Andrew Strang's dad. They are not like the Hollywood fighter pilots. Like they're not the big Bravo, like macho, like the ones I've met and come to know. Like if they wouldn't have told me they were fighter pilots, I'd have never known. I thought
they were an accountant or something.
Yeah, I thought they were bankers. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Just laid back flying under the radar, if you will.
Yeah.
Literally
under the radar.
Yeah.
And figuratively. That's awesome. So definitely an exciting week. Beautiful weather. We got the midweek kind of lull with that quarter moon, but it should be pretty good over this weekend. And then next weekend, we got that front side of the full moon coming up. So some more water flowing. Things are warming up. Things are moving. I think bait is going to be a key thing if you're going inshore fishing right now, to try to find that bait and find those fish more actively feeding with these slower tides and warming weather. I think the fish are as confused as we are. Like,
yeah.
Hey, it's early February. What's going on?
Jacket in the morning and shorts in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Layers are important.
Yeah, definitely. Be able to dress for the water
temperature.
Can I ask
an offshore question?
Go for it.
All right. So this time of year, like you're talking about that moon, as you go into that moon, is it better than coming off that moon?
Front side of the full moon is good. Around the full moon offshore, you can get those days. I mean, the moon is only one of 30
several
different
factors,
variables, right? So you got to take all this with a grain of salt because things can change if it's murky water or overcast conditions. But generally,
drop pressure.
Yeah, generally the full moon is going to be better for offshore fishing on the front side of it, or the back side of it after a few days, directly around, like 1 or 2 days in front of, on, and 1 or 2 days behind the full moon. Sometimes it can be a little softer in the day.
Yeah.
Because they have that opportunity to feed all night.
They'll switch nocturnal.
Yeah, but the front side of it is generally pretty good offshore, just because they haven't nocturnally fed all night yet. And there's more activity because that water's moving and bait's moving, and just fish are able to feed more actively.
Gotcha.
You know what I just heard?
What?
Sounds like tarpon fishing without the 4-hour boat ride.
It does.
Same thing for tarpon, huh?
Yeah. It'd be a couple days before, on, and a couple days after. I mean, that's when you get those big tides.
The hill tides down south.
The crab flush.
Are always on the full moon.
Yeah.
Or the new moon.
Right, yeah.
New moon.
Yeah, on the cycles, right.
Yeah. The big moons, big tides, big flushes of bait, and stacks of fish up.
Yep.
So fish have to kind of stick their nose into the tide, and that's one thing you got to remember, even offshore fishing, is those fish are going to either be looking at the tide, or they're going to be behind the structure with their body hidden from the tide, able to ambush the bait.
Sight fishing 101, they don't eat with their tail.
Yeah. And the same thing applies offshore to those big structures. You got to kind of visualize the structure, what it looks like, how it lays, and
the
where
drift,
those fish are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. sight fishing without seeing them.
Yep.
Same rules apply.
Same rules apply.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I love those big tides. I always did, like, when I would want to run big snook trips, I would do them always on the moons.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The salooners.
Yeah, like always on the moons. I mean, if you had a client that really wanted big fish, that's when we were doing it.
Yeah.
Because they would eat. They'd always eat on that falling tide on a full moon.
Yep.
Outgoing tide on the full moon, incoming tide on the new moon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly right.
Big snook.
Or dead bait all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cut bait all the time.
Cut catfish.
Never catfish for snook. That's crazy talk. Don't even bring that in here.
Ladyfish and mullet.
Yeah, ladyfish and mullet. Jacks.
Cut jacks?
Cut jacks. Love a cut jack because they're oily.
Yeah, very oily.
I think they put out like a good scent slick.
Interesting.
And I like my cut baits to be big enough to where like a catfish won't eat them. Like they'll pick at them and stuff, but I want it like to where if you catch a catfish on it, like it was fun to catch it.
Because it was a big one.
Yeah, it was like a 10-pound catfish. Like I want big stuff.
Yeah.
Dude, we were snook fishing years ago, mouth of Wooden Creek, dead bait on the bottom. Buddy of mine caught a 32-inch trout.
Really?
What?
32-inch
That's
trout.
a monster trout.
That's a hog.
On dead cut bait on the bottom while we were snook fishing.
At the sombrero, do you know where the sombrero is on the north side of Wooden Creek there?
I don't know.
We need to talk off air about this.
I don't know it's called the sombrero, but
yeah, we need to talk about this off air. I think.
All right.
Like this is getting a little too specific right now.
Touche. What's your biggest snook, Travis?
I didn't weigh it. The biggest snook I've ever touched though is 45 inches.
Whoa!
It was a monster. That was the biggest snook I've ever caught.
On a dead bait?
No, that was on a live grunt.
Live grunt. Okay.
Back in the day, if I could get grunts, that was my go-to for snook.
I love a live grunt for
snook. Like that was the other one that I love, and I don't know the legality of this, but there's a statute of limitations run up, and I'm not admitting to anything currently, if anyone from FWC is listening, but parrotfish.
Really?
Like a parrotfish, a snook will hit out of anger, I think.
Yeah.
Like you could
needlefish as well. Needlefish.
I've seen them hit needlefish like out of
At
reaction.
Dock lights, I've seen them hit needlefish.
Yeah. Even dead needlefish. I used to shoot them with my pellet gun and then scoop them up. And man, they were great baits.
Those parrotfish, like you could put one under a dock on like in the summertime. You put one under a dock, he does not last. And then you if he got run up the line, you could put him back under there. Like you could catch 2 or 3 fish if the bait didn't get swallowed. Like on a dead one.
How are you catching a parrotfish?
In a cast net.
Oh, okay.
Like they'd end up in your chum slick, and you'd end up with a couple of them in your cast net.
All right.
Like again, I don't know the species, I don't know what it was or anything else. I just knew it was a thing that ended up in my live well, and I was like, well, we'll try it. Sure enough. Never caught a snook on a blue runner. I've tried on a blue runner, never caught one on a blue runner. Not yet. Well, I probably won't try again. Now I'm superstitious.
All right, Real Animals Radio will be right back.
Information about contests on this station.
Yeah, dude, we saw that trout come up, netted it, threw it in the boat, measured it, like almost crapped our pants.
We have no
32-inch
regulations around what we say on here, right?
No, not at all. Entertainment
They're
purposes
called
only.
slippery dicks. That's the name of the fish. I wasn't sure if I could say that on the air. It's a slippery dick. It's the name of the fish.
Okay.
But I also don't know if they're legal to use as bait now, so I don't anymore.
Right.
They're not in FMP, so you should.
They're not. I wondered if they were a wrasse that was protected somehow.
Yeah, they might be one of those aquarium fish.
Yeah.
There's certain rules in Florida about that.
I stopped once I got my. Well, I did it when I started as a guide for a little while.
You did it 7 years ago.
Oh, it was more than that, but yes.
More than 7 years ago.
Theoretically.
It's like goldfish for bass.
Yeah. Yeah. God.
Whoa.
That's the
Captain
only.
Van Hubbard said 48.5 inches on a lizard fish.
Yeah, but that's not even impressive because that's Van. I mean, we would expect nonetheless.
Wow.
48.5 inches.
That's a monster snook, man.
That's my leg.
Yeah, that's a huge snook.
Slippery Richards. There you go. Thank you, Brian, for giving me the cleaned up version.
Slippery Richards.
Yeah, I love blue runners for tarpon. I've never caught a snook on one. I've tried. Dude, the comment section is fired up today, y'all.
They're on point.
They are on point. This is peak comment stuff today.
Jerry Smith said, "Keep talking, Travis."
Sorry. The biggest snook I ever caught was under that second dock on the north end of Gasparilla Island.
Yeah.
Remember when those were the docks?
LGI.
Not LGI, across LGI,
Gasparilla.
across on the north end of Booker Grant, the island Booker Grant's on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's like docks there, and they're like everybody
By
knows
the
it. It's not
lighthouse,
secret.
yeah.
No,
the other end.
The north tip
The
of
north
Boca
end.
Grande. It's Gasparilla Island, but the north tip of Boca Grande.
So if you went to the south end of Little Gasparilla and swam across the north tip that's facing you, God, that was the best snook spot for a long time. It shoaled and changed, but now it used to be money.
My biggest snook, you mentioned my Aka cut earlier.
You caught it there?
It wasn't in the cut, but it was near there.
It wasn't specific.
The little place we call the Pipeline. And I was using a 6-pound rod with a 1,000 size reel.
Oh my God!
All right, a 1,000.
Were you hoping to catch some specks when you were done?
No, we were snook fishing, but it was just sport. I mean, they break off, they break off. I don't give a shit. So, anyways, hooked it. Legit had to pull it. This is before power poles. Had to pull the anchor and chase it. Like we're in a creek. We're in like a creek mouth, and had to chase it. It's in the trees, out of the trees, in the trees, out of the trees. Landed it in the harbor. We were fishing in the creek.
And he took you out?
And we landed it in the harbor.
Wow.
42 inches.
Dang.
On a 1,000 size reel and a 6-pound rod.
That's your biggest snook?
Yeah.
Dang.
On the lightest tackle. Which is
cool.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
The day I caught that 45, I caught a 41 and a 38. And they sequentially, I went in reverse. I went 38, 41, 45, and I stopped.
Nice.
I was
tiring.
I would too.
Yeah, I was exhausted. I was like so like excited.
Mentally fried.
I was excited, man. I was like, I can't do this anymore.
We're back.
Captains Mike Anderson and Dylan Hubbard.
So on the break, Bobby shared his biggest snook story. 42-inch snook on a 1,000, huh?
Yeah. It's a 6-pound rod, 1,000 size reel. Had to pull the anchor, chase it, fight it, crank up the big motor, chase it, fight it.
Wow.
In and out of the trees like 3 or 4 times.
Just got lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is a huge fish on a 1,000.
Like I said, we were just fun fishing. So, I mean, if they broke off, who cares? Wasn't a charter. It's way, I mean, it was when I was younger, way before I was even guiding.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Structure fishing snook, like you almost need a little. I mean, the biggest one I ever caught jumped on the other side of the dock and swam back through it. That never happens.
Yeah.
Like that just doesn't. Like I shouldn't have caught that fish.
But there's also the flip side of that. When I just did that podcast with Jonathan Moss, our buddy Jonathan Moss, and one of the tips.
Name drop.
Captain Jonathan Moss. Go Castaway.
He's my buddy.
Captain's
He might
Log.
be your captain, but he's my buddy.
The Captain's Log TV.
Yeah, great dude. But anyways, we talked, did a little tackle tip segment at the end of it, and I talked about actually tackling down and using lighter drag around structure. Like it goes against conventional thinking, but the harder you fight the fish, the harder the fish fights you.
It's also the same thing with slow pitch jig fishing offshore. That's why it works with that 30-pound test and those light rods. Is you're not fighting the fish. You're
angling. You're finessing. You're angling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And there's something to be said. It works.
Yep.
Well, I also learned from offshore fishing the flip the bail and let him swim back out.
Oh, absolutely.
Like I didn't know that for a long time. You tried to horse or fight or whatever, but like I fished offshore a little bit with a guy back then, and I was like, why don't we try this inshore? And sure enough, sucker swim out, and then you had him.
Dude, when a grouper rocks you up, like it took me a long time, and I inshore grouper fish, so I don't do the offshore thing, but it took me a while to like do the whole to have faith in it and like trust that it was gonna work, because I'd open it and I didn't have the patience. I'm not a very patient fisherman, so I didn't have the patience. So I'm like, close it, he's still in there. So finally, a buddy of mine told me, he's like, dude, open it, stick it in a rod holder, and sit down and eat a sandwich. And so I did. I just sat down, ate a sandwich, took a drink of water, just happened to look up and I see my line just, coming off,
peeling off.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay, he's swimming again.
Crazy.
It's so cool. It's all those little institutional knowledge tricks you pick up.
Yep.
Captain Van Hubbard said he had a 19.5-inch mullet spit up by a big snook they hooked.
Wow.
That is crazy. An almost 20-inch mullet spit up by the fish you caught. That's pretty crazy.
I would clean a 20-inch mullet. I just want to be clear about that.
Yeah, right.
I'm not using that for bait. I'm eating it.
Yeah, Dan the fish man said croakers.
Oh, yeah.
Croakers is a good one, especially when you're fishing back in the bay.
Yeah, croakers are magic. Whiting. Is a whiting the same thing as a croaker?
A northern kingfish. I believe.
Yeah, it's not. Is that the same thing?
I don't know.
I've used whiting for snook bait too, and they'll hammer that.
That one might be also one of those.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know.
Is that a gray area thing?
Yeah. I know offshore, any fish in the fishery management plan with the size limit, bag limit, you can't use for bait. I don't know if that applies inshore.
Oh, brother.
But I'd be careful about that one, Travis.
Well, that's also been a minute, but yeah.
That was over 7 years ago as well.
I think you just misidentified that whiting. It really wasn't a whiting.
No, I've for sure used whiting as bait in the past.
I was trying to help you out, man.
Look, dude, I'm honest as the day is long.
Someone asked about red tide. Unfortunately, the current red tide samples are not looking great for South Florida, Southwest Florida. There's quite a bit of red tide sampling coming out of Port Charlotte area, showing some pretty strong levels, medium levels. There's some high levels recorded down there off of Fort Myers, Cape Coral area. Naples has some really high levels. There's also quite a bit of red tide samples at the medium level just north of the Keys, Florida Bay area. So pretty interesting to see it that far south. I don't really remember red tide getting bad just north of the Keys.
Yeah, it's been a while. I think 2017 they had some in the Keys, but it's not very often that it's there.
The Bay, Tampa Bay, is just low. So hopefully we'll see.
I haven't been paying attention to what's the weather doing? Is it blowing on or is it blowing off or is it?
It's not really blowing at all.
It's just stagnant.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the eye can see, it's 10 mile an hour or less for the next 10 days, basically on Windfinder. So
we need some big east winds.
Yeah, we need something to shake it up. Definitely some questionable water around.
Yeah, we just came out of a La Nina year, so I can't remember what that does.
La Nina is sticking around too.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have another La Nina?
Yeah, it's going to stick around through hurricane season, which is not good for hurricane season.
It's not good for duck season, you guys.
I'm more worried about hurricane season.
I appreciate that. I understand that. That's not great for duck season.
So how would you get a hold of yourself, Travis? What's the best way to keep up with you?
Instagram, Travis Thompson. Facebook, you can find me on there. allfla.org or allfla.org on the socials. You can find us all over.
Or just handwrite a letter and send it to the governor's office.
Oh, my gosh.
What about you, Bobby? How would you keep up with you?
Website, captain-bobby.com.
Is it Captain spelled out?
Captain spelled out. So captain-bobby.com or 863-224-1418.
That's it.
He did give an Instagram or a social media handle. He doesn't know about those yet.
Yeah, look at that mustache.
What's that?
He doesn't do social media. Thanks for coming on the show this morning, boys. Appreciate it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the show. We'll see you again next week for another episode of the Real Animals Radio Show. Hopefully you will join us tomorrow night, 7:30 p.m. for the live stream show as well. We're going to dive deep on fisheries management and answer your questions live and give away $1,500 in free stuff every Sunday night, 7:30 p.m. live on the Real Animals and Hubbard's Marina Facebook pages. Hopefully we'll see you there. Don't forget, if you're too busy to go fishing, you're just too darn busy. We'll see you out there on the water. Enjoy this beautiful weather, y'all. Real Animals Radio. We're out. Thanks, guys, for tuning in and joining us on the stream this morning. We appreciate it. All the entertaining comments and commentary this morning, and it was a good time. Hope you enjoyed. See you later, y'all.
Don't use whiting as bait.
Don't.
Or admit to it at least.
Don't admit to it. That's the thing. Entertainment purposes only, guys.
For entertainment purposes only.
See y'all.